Hey everybody, Jay Super Awesome here. I'd like to welcome you all to week 27 of the TheHORRORman's SlashBack Saturday Challenge. This week's slasher movie theme is Standalone Slashers, and I will be giving my review for The Greenskeeper. Okay, so getting into the plot for this one, the golf-playing, pool-partying, beautiful people of Summer's Isle Country Club are discovering what the business end of a pair of hedge clippers really means. It's slice and dice time when the Greenskeeper has a score to settle. Golf will never be the same. It's par for the corpse. Okay, so getting into my thoughts for this one. With this week's SlashBack Challenge theme of standalone slashers, I chose to watch and review The Greenskeeper basically because it fit this week's theme and it's a slasher movie that I have been wanting to talk about for a pretty good while. But for some reason, I continued to put this one off. I'm not really for sure why, because at this point, The Greenskeeper could have worked under multiple different themes. In my opinion, The Greenskeeper is a fun and entertaining low-budget slasher film that I revisit from time to time. It's just one that I've always enjoyed. It's definitely not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, and it's probably not going to be for everybody. And if I really wanted to, I could probably nitpick this movie apart, but that's not what I'm going to do. There's something that's in this movie that I feel like sums The Greenskeeper up perfectly. Throughout the movie, a few different times, we have a group of friends who are watching a low-budget horror movie called The Milkman, and we also do have a assistant Greenskeeper character who's watching the same movie. Now, judging by the footage that we can see of this movie, it doesn't look like it was made very well. It looks pretty low budget. It looks pretty cheesy. The acting looks pretty over the top. But the point is, the people who are watching it are having a really good time while they watch it. And I really feel like that's the whole point of The Greenskeeper. It's a turn your brain off kind of movie. It's not to be taken seriously. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, you might enjoy this low-budget slasher film. One of the things that I really liked about The Greenskeeper was I loved the country club setting. So we have the golf course, we have a pool area, and we also have a small tennis court. And I probably should mention that the killer lives in a shack out in the woods. And also, in my opinion, a lot of the best killers live in shacks out in the middle of the woods. Overall, The Greenskeeper is a pretty standard slasher movie, but I can't help but love all the winks and nods it gives to a lot of the classic slasher films such as The Burning, The Prowler, and you might have guessed Friday the 13th Part 2. And while The Greenskeeper will never be close to the level of those classic slasher films, it does have enough charm of its own. Something else that I wanted to mention is that the soundtrack to The Greenskeeper was put together by Kip Winger of 80s rock band Winger, and I do feel like this is a little bit of a missed opportunity, and I'm sure this is where a nice chunk of the budget went to, but I feel like other than a few key moments with the killer, the score to the movie really didn't stand out all that much. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the cast of characters we have in The Greenskeeper. So, the main character of this movie storyline would be Alan, and he is the Summer Isles Country Club's current greenskeeper, along with a likable assistant. Now, my biggest overall issue with this movie is its storyline and how the people are related to Alan. Now, Alan is set to inherit the country club from his parents, and seeing how his father is already out of the picture, that leaves his mother being the sole owner of the country club. Something else that I thought was really odd about Alan's mother and father was there was at least a 30-year plus age difference between the two. Now, I'm not really one to judge and say that this isn't possible. It just didn't really feel right for this movie storyline. And what makes all this even more strange is not long after Alan's father's death, Alan's mother remarries her husband's brother, who seems to be along the lines of her own age. So hopefully I was able to explain all this in a way that wasn't too confusing or too revealing or hopefully not offensive in any way. I just really feel like the relative characters related to Alan were just pretty unbelievable, and this simply could just be chalked up to bad casting. We also do have a few side characters. We have Alan's unlikable girlfriend and her snotty friends, and these are just characters that you just can't wait for them to get what's coming to them. And we also do have a new potential love interest for Alan. Overall, I really do like the characters in this movie. Other than some odd stuff going on with Alan's parents, I thought the characters were pretty fun, and I thought the acting was pretty decent. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the most important part of a slasher movie, that is the killer and the kills. And I absolutely love the look of the killer in this movie, and I found it to be really interesting that former Major League Baseball pitcher John Rocker was actually cast as the Greenskeeper killer in this movie, so I found that to be pretty interesting. And I have to say that I really love it when a slasher movie can fit the personality of the killer with the actual location of the movie. What better killer to have running around killing people on a golf course than a greenskeeper? It's a perfect setup for the killer in this movie. We also have a little bit of a mystery surrounding the actual identity of who the killer is in this movie. We also get a twist ending, and we also have a really cool poolside story about the local urban legend surrounding the greenskeeper. And as far as the kills go in this movie, it has a pretty decent body count. I thought the kills were fun and entertaining to watch. The killer's weapon of choice seems to be the hedge clippers, but he's definitely not limited to that. Most of the kills consist of different equipment that's used around the golf course, so I thought that was pretty cool. We do get a decent amount of blood and gore. I don't necessarily feel like the kills had a lot of suspense, but I still enjoy the way they were set up. Overall, I thought The Greenskeeper was a fun and entertaining low-budget slasher film. I really enjoyed it despite all of the issues I have with it. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know if you have seen The Greenskeeper, or just let me know what you think about my review. And I would like to thank you all for watching.